we want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And I want to say shalom to the brothers and sisters that are in this truth. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so we're back with another lesson. And this one is going to be titled The Vain Thoughts of the Wicked. All right. You know, and this is a thing that has been going on. All right. Ever since the wicked has risen into power. All right. You know, they had that, was that Manifest Destiny. Okay. Where they said, you know, they thought the Lord was with them. Okay. Fast forward. All right. 500 years later. Okay. And, you know, as the scripture says, right, that their inner thoughts, and we're going to get that, is that their houses shall continue forever. All right. This is why they're trying to set up this new technology. They're setting up, you know, this AI God of theirs. All right. In order to implement the CHIP. Okay. They're going to persecute you with the sword. They're going to think that, you know, their blessing is going to hold up, which is a carnal blessing. All right. Which was a trap, which was a setup from the beginning. All right. This is why you got Trump, right, in his pride, making these speeches. You got Yuval Harari talking about, you know, that their creations are surpassing the God of the Bible. All right. Because their vain thoughts, you know, are that they're going to, you know, they're establishing this new world order, right, to continue forever, right? As they say, the greatest military to ever, you know, be established, okay, which that's prophetic, okay, but it is going to fall short, okay, to the military, to the host of the heavens, all right? So that's also a vain thought, okay? Them thinking that their counsel is going to overthrow the counsel of the Lord is a vain thought, all right? And this is the times that we're in, okay? They've been hiding, right, as a fugitive. They've been running from the name Esau, all right? They've been hiding from the Lord, okay? And they done thought that the Lord forgot about everything, but not understanding that the Lord is the one who's positioning them in these, you know, in these places, in these positions, okay? The Lord's chessboard is the earth, man. And the Lord is playing on both sides. There is no escaping. Okay? There's like, for an example, the elect. Okay? The elect, a lot of the elect were great athletes. Okay? A lot of the elect were you know, one's probably drug dealers, done this, done that, went to the military. Okay? But like I said, the Lord is playing both sides. All right? And the elect did not prosper in those things that they did. Okay, because the Lord set this up from the beginning. So whatever the wicked are thinking, all it is just vain thoughts. All right, as the scripture says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, right? That when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come, right? And they're going to think that they're going to be safe, okay, when they implement the CHIP, all right? When they got this new world order going, okay? They're going to lift it off the ground. All right, but the Lord is going to throw that shit right back down, okay? He's going to overthrow this place with violence, all right? So let's get into a couple scriptures showing you, all right, that the works of the wicked is not going to work, okay? And anybody that's joined unto them is going to fall right with them, all right? So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 11.
There's a book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever.
See that their houses shall continue forever. And how do we know that this is the white man? Go ahead.
And their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
You see that? They call their the lands, right? Their lands after their own names. Okay? How they do that? Through conquering. Okay? Where we at right here? In America. Right? The land of Ashereth. Okay? But it was called America after Amerigo Vespucci. Okay? Just like Africa. Scipio Africanus. Okay? These are all white men. All right? They named their lands. Okay? After their own names. All right, and they think that their dwelling places are gonna, uh, be established throughout all generations. Why? Because of the wealth that they got. Okay, they keep passing it on down. All right, and the elites understand about reincarnation. That's why they keep it in the family. They pass it down to their children, their children's children, understanding that to the third and fourth generation, they're gonna come right back into that wealth. And that's why these people are being reserved. Okay, these people are being reserved for that great day that is coming. Okay, because they are the same people, okay, that have been doing this from the beginning. You see, they're thinking that from them keeping that wealth in their generation and in their family, okay, that they're gonna keep that power, that power structure, that they're gonna be sitting on that throne forever, not understanding that throne, okay, belongs to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's why the Lord said, okay, that He's coming back with many crowns. Okay, those crowns represent the takeover, the removal, okay, of Esau, Edom, and all these heathen that are together in their own council, right? So let's go to the book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12.
This is the book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty.
You see that? He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, okay? And one of the devices that they're establishing right now is that AI. Okay, that God that they're building, okay, that they think they're going to be able to lock down, okay, the earth with, all right, and overthrow the counsel of the Lord. The Lord is going to disappoint that, all right? Go ahead.
So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise.
You see that? You're not going to be able to perform what you want. You're not going to be able to give it the finishing touch, all right, which is what? Locking down the earth, right? Putting the sea hip into every Israelite for you to get your birthright back, okay? Because we know that is your mission, okay? So you're not going to be able to perform, right, your enterprise. You're not going to be able to establish what you are building, all right? And part of this building, right, is mentioned in Malachi 1 and 4. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down, okay? So you're trying to establish, just like they did the Tower of Babel. You see, the Lord threw down, and this is the same thing. All right, you're trying to establish that new world order. Okay, the Lord is going to cause a lot of confusion. Okay, because at the end of the day, you thought you were in power. You thought that you was able to escape the judgment. All right, you didn't even believe in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's why you establishing your own God, and the Lord is going to show His power on that day. You're going to remember His name. Okay. But it's going to be too late because you're not going to receive no mercy, okay? Everything is downhill for you from here on, all right? Go ahead.
He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong.
You see that? And the counsel of the froward is carried headlong, okay? So at the end of the day, you find yourself fighting against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai through your counsel, all right? You find yourself striving against the Lord. That's why Babylon's going to be taken, as it says in the book of Jeremiah chapter 50. Okay? You was not aware. Okay? You've been caught up in the snare. Right? But through that pride, right? That pride has deceived you. Okay? And that great deception that you brought upon the world, right, was really a deception that was brought upon you from the beginning. Okay? That's why in the book of Acts, this is one of my favorite scriptures. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 5, start at verse 38.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 38. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men.
Right. And what are we telling you? Okay? What are we telling you? Right? What men are we telling you to refrain from in this lifetime? Okay? We're telling you to refrain from the so-called white man. All right, that's responsible, all right, for the rest of the earth, especially the 2/3 going off. All right, got our people believing all types of bullshit. Okay, and we tell you to refrain from these men. We're telling you to refrain from these churches that were set up by the wicked. Okay, to refrain from this lifestyle. All right, to refrain, right, to not accept that sea hip, and we know 2/3 is gonna anyways, okay? But it's our job to let you know, okay? Go ahead.
and let them alone.
And let them alone. Can two walk together unless you agree? And if you agree with the so-called white man, you're just as polluted as him. And the Lord got to come back and do one thing and destroy you, right?
For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught.
Right. And the counsel, all right, that you people are taking is the counsel of the so-called white man, okay? Whether it's Christianity, whether it's atheism, whether you believe in the Anunnaki, okay? You believe the earth has been around for millions of years, pseudoscience, witchcraft, whatever that is. This is all the counsel of men, all right? A base man at that, okay? Because this is who you taking counsel from, the lowest of the lowest, the so-called white man that's in power right now, right? Go ahead.
But if it be of Yahweh,
right? If it be of Yahweh, go ahead.
ye cannot overthrow it.
Right. You're not going to be able to overthrow it. We know that these prophecies are going to come to pass, okay? And this is why you people have been put in a bad situation, okay? From the beginning, I would hate to have found out that I'm an Edomite, and that's why you people are fighting tooth and nail to stay away from that name, okay?
Lest haply ye be found even to fight against Yahweh.
You see that? So you people are being found to fight Yahweh. This is the way you guys were wired, okay? You cannot make straight what the Lord made crooked. And this is the lot of the so-called white man, okay? To fight the Lord spiritually, okay? And he's going to find himself fighting the Lord physically, okay? When the Lord returns, right? Revelations chapter 19, when Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, returns with the heavenly host, okay? To fight Esau and his military, all right? Because it's not the counsel of the Lord that they took up. They took up their own counsel, right? Which we know that the Lord put that in their spirit, okay? But it is all in order to fulfill prophecy, okay? That's why we always use this as an example, okay? You go to those churches, they'll tell you that the laws are done away with. You could be a reprobate, you could be whatever you want, okay? That's finding yourself fighting against the Lord, okay? Because these are the instructions that the Lord has given us, all right? But guess what? The Lord's coming back to do one thing, and that's to remove that disease, okay? To establish a righteous kingdom, okay? Where you no longer have to Google information, okay? And do research, okay? To do research, that means that the truth is hidden, okay? Shit, you in a treasure hunt, all right? No. Knowledge and wisdom is going to be given freely, right? Isaiah chapter 2. That's why the nations are going to flow unto Jerusalem, right? To be taught righteousness, to be put in order, okay? And this is why you, Esau, Edomites, are going to be found facing the Lord, as it says in Isaiah chapter 63, when he comes back, okay, to tread the winepress, okay? The Lord's going to do a lot of deletion, okay? And the heathen ain't off the hook, but Esau, Edom, the wicked, okay, they're in the forefront, okay? They're going to receive the worst judgment out of all men, women, and children on this planet Earth, okay? So, let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 2, and let's start at verse 1.
There's the book of Psalms, chapter 2, and verse 1. Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing?
Right. Why do you imagine a vain thing? Why do you imagine that you believe in your heart? All right? And remember what the scripture says. The scripture says that the heart is deceitful above all things. You really believe in your heart that you're going to be able to take the Lord. You really believe in your heart that you have escaped judgment, that through your riches and your technology, you are protected, that your great sword, right? These new weapons, you know, the ICBM missile, right? Which is a device that's going to be used against you. Okay. You think that you have gotten the victory, all right, through your military might. That's why you're searching the heavens, man. Okay. You're doing a diligent search on everything. Okay. Because you want to set your throne above Yahweh. You want to be the God of the earth, right? Which right now you are a power, but you not the most high. Okay. But these are the vain things you imagine. Okay, go ahead.
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together.
You see that they take counsel together, man. That's why you got a United Nations, the UN, right? The European Union, okay, NATO, all right? These are all the kings of the earth, man, right? They set themselves and the rulers taking counsel, right, together, okay? That's why they got these G4 meetings and these, these, how you call that? These banking families getting together, all right, taking counsel. Go ahead.
Against the Lord.
Against who?
Against the Lord.
Against the Lord. Go ahead.
And against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Right, okay? And the anointed are the elect, starting with Yahweh Shai, okay? Go ahead.
He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh.
He shall do what?
Shall laugh.
Shall laugh. Go ahead.
The Lord shall have them in derision.
You see that? You're going to be in complete confusion of why your plan wasn't foolproof, because it wasn't your plan to begin with. It was the Lord's plan, okay? Understand that he raises the basis of men. You thought you did it on your own. Can the axe boast against him that wields it? As the scripture says, no. Remember that the Lord is the Father of all spirits. The incorruptible spirit of the Lord is in all things. Okay, so the Lord is in control of all these things. All right? And these are the vain thoughts that you had. Right? You didn't believe in the Lord, so you thought you did everything on your own accord. All right? But the Lord is going to have you in derision. Okay? Okay, when you get overthrown, when you see these so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, okay, with these spiritual powers, all right, your military going down, all right, the great beast, right, who can make war with the beast, all right, but the Lord is cutting you down slowly, and it's starting with this word, all right, because your counsel, all right, has nothing to do with what the Lord wants, okay, your counsel was just, how you call that, a jab to your face, so you wouldn't be able to see the power shot coming, okay? You see, and that power shot is going to be the missiles destroying you. You headed into World War III, all right, to be taken out. But you're going to go in there with confidence thinking you got the greatest military, not understanding that prophetically, okay, you're going in there for your own destruction. You see? Okay? So, let's get a few more scriptures. Let's go to the book of Job. All right? Let's go to the book of Job chapter 21. And let's start at verse, let me see, I believe it's 29. God.
There's the book of Job, chapter 21 and verse 29. Have ye not asked them that go by the way, and do ye not know their tokens?
Right, and that's us, right? Go ahead.
That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction.
That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction, right? And we've been telling you, you're not asking us. You know what I mean? You sit there and you hear that the so-called white man is a devil and you walk off pissed off, right? But if we tell you a so-called black man is a devil, you agree. Okay? Go ahead.
They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath.
Read 30 one more time.
That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction.
So the wicked, the so-called white man, right? Men, women, and children are reserved for the day of destruction. Okay? Right? That's that vessel, that vessel fitted for wrath, right? Fitted for the day of the Lord's wrath, man. In Romans chapter 9. Okay, go ahead.
They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath.
You see that? Go ahead.
He shall declare his way to his face.
And that's what we're doing. All right, go ahead.
And who shall repay him what he hath done?
Right, and the Lord's going to repay him. That's why the Lord said, wait upon me. Okay, and this is what we're doing. We're waiting for the second coming of Yahweh Shai. All right, to come destroy this man. Okay, to repay him for what he's done. And he got to pay for what he's done to the Lord 2,000 years ago. Okay? Same people that pierced him are still right here again. Right? Revelation chapter 1 and 7. Right? The Lord said what? Even those that pierced him shall see him. Okay? So they're back. And the Lord is going to repay them for what they've done, man. That's going to be the great day of the Lord's vengeance. When he said, I shall not meet thee as a man. He's not coming back to tell Peter, put your sword in the sheath, or I'm going to bow down to these people. He's not coming back for that, right? This ain't going to be Rome 2.0. We're going to crucify Yahweh Shai and laugh and party. And no, the Lord's coming back to destroy you once and for all. This is the reason why the Lord allowed the revised Roman Empire to be rebuilt again, because the Lord has that day of vengeance to come back and repay you for what you did. Okay? He ain't forget. All right? You forgot. Okay? But guess what? As they say, revenge is best served in a cold platter. All right? So while you forgot, the Lord is preparing, okay? And preparing the way for the kings of the east. That's why you guys are all going to meet up in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And in the middle of that, the Lord's going to come, right, with the heavenly host, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 13, to diminish y'all within 1 hour, okay? So let's close it out with the book of Job, right? Chapter 27. I'm going to go to verse 13.
This is the book of Job, chapter 27, and verse 13. This is the portion of a wicked man with Yahweh.
Right. This is the portion of a wicked man with Yahweh, okay? And what?
In the heritage of oppressors.
And who are the oppressors? You tell me right now. Who are the oppressors, man?
Esau.
Right. So-called white man, okay? Ruling the earth in wickedness, okay? Go ahead.
Which they shall receive of the Almighty.
Right, right. They're going to receive from the Almighty. Go ahead.
If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword.
Say that again.
If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword.
As it says in Isaiah 14 and 21, right? Prepare slaughter for his children. Okay? Why? Because they are those same people that came back. Go ahead.
And his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread.
Right. Okay? You're not going to be satisfied with bread. Everything you building, everything you thought you're going to have through your, with your riches, okay? All that is going to go down the drain. And it's circling real fast ever since 1969. Ever since Abba Bivens came on the scene, okay? The world is slowly seeing the vain thoughts of the wicked, right? That council going left real quick, all right? They're having a hard time right now in Iran, okay? The Lord is exalting Russia slowly but surely for this third woe, all right? And Russia ain't off the hook. Those are Edomites too. But as the scripture says, right? If a house be divided, that house cannot stand. Okay? And the Lord is dividing this house through the scriptures, through his counsel, which is the only counsel that's going to stand. Okay? The counsel of the Lord shall stand. All right? But the vain thoughts of the wicked, all right, they're going to perish with the wicked on that day of vengeance, on the day of the second coming. All right? On the day of salvation. Okay? Where they will be dethroned, all right, and overthrown with great violence. All right? So, Lord willing, this was edifying. And with that, we're going to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And I want to say shalom to the brothers and sisters that are in this truth. Shalom.
Shalom.
Abba, Abba.
Abba.
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Shalom.
Shalom.